Hi. Well, it's Thanksgiving, which is a great day to think about all that I'm grateful for, all that I passed through, and all that I have to look forward to in the future. So I'm reflecting back on my last year, and I could hardly recognize the Jennifer that sat here a year ago because I've made such extreme changes in my life. So about a year and a half ago, I had a virus that's been inside of me for a long time become reactivated, and it resulted in very serious seizures, and I was bedridden, and basically my self-care was just sleep and prescription drugs. And that very, very quickly led me down a path I was afraid I wouldn't be able to recover from. Pharmaceutical drugs for seizures just basically, it's like giving you a lobotomy. It basically takes your life away. It tries to give you your life back by taking your life away because it has to just settle all the brain activities. But I thought there might be a better way to achieve that goal of just settling the brain, calming the body, and achieving some sort of balance. I wasn't sure if it would work when I did it, and I took a huge leap of faith. And here I am. I feel like the tides are turning, and there's no guarantees, but right now I feel really, really well. That being said, I'll never be the level I was before I got sick this time, but that's okay because what I've learned about myself and my path and how to keep myself healthy, as well as it's helped me to build an amazing spiritual foundation, because I've come to believe that you can't cure a physical illness without kind of the spiritual component and the psychological component. And so those three things are what I've sort of built upon for health, just to try to get back, as much of my health as I had. And although I haven't gotten back as much physical health as I used to have, the other areas have just blossomed. Okay, so let me start. It started with one small choice of getting off of prescription medication and using cannabis. So I was using pot, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was smoking it, and I felt better, and I felt more peaceful. I just knew that it was like the first clue to my mystery. So then I started, I got my green card, and I went to dispensaries, and I learned a lot about how to use cannabis as a medicine. And I can put more of that into another video, but let's just say it's an amazing medicine, but it works best. Its efficacy is tenfold if you add a spiritual component and some sort of mindfulness, as you're using the cannabis. So it's not just mindless, consumption, So anyhow, so starting with pot just made me feel connected to my medicine, because it was a lot different than just popping a pill and going back to bed. Now I had to figure out dosage, all kinds of things. And like I said, I'll do another video on that, because I have dosage down to a science, and kind of the best way to take this stuff for me. And I'm no doctor. This is all experiential. And the gift weed has given me is the gift of life. So that's the cannabis component. Then I got out of bed, that helped me get out of bed. But I learned I had to be really kind to myself and really gentle and not judgmental. And that brought the component of mindfulness into my life. So with mindfulness, you learn a lot about how to be present in the present moment, be here now with these circumstances, this life. Not to reside in the past, not to reside in the future, but, just to be here and now and experience kind of in high def what's going on now. So I really enjoy mindfulness, because it helps me take out the judgment, and that relaxes my brain, that I can just I can just be an observer in life, and I could just, sit back and observe without judgment. We spend so much energy, and this is about energy. I have to conserve energy. I want to make that point that I have a condition that just robs me of energy, and judging people or things when you don't need to, it's an energy drain, and it's disconnective. So another part of my healing has been finding community and just finding connection. And to find connection to others, you really have to find, connection with yourself, deep in your heart. So I've learned, to love myself a lot more, and it has opened these heart channels I never knew I had, to be able to feel love in my heart for just about everyone, you know what I mean, I come in contact with. It's not saying the whole day I walk down the street, hey, I love you, I love you, I love you. But I could feel this sense of shared energy and shared space and connectivity. So I could definitely walk down the street and feel highly, highly connected, to everybody that crosses my path. So, that's another component. It basically comes down to mindfulness, just about every component in my healing. But what's shocking is that all of this is free and available to everybody. I was diagnosed with a disease called Myalgicencephalomeilitis that has no treatment and no cure. And they're calling this modern medicine. And then you look back at other medicine models that integrate the mind, body, and spirit, and it's all just laid out for you. And you can sort of put together your own program, but there are methods, like ancient Chinese methods that just have been around forever, Ayurvedic methods. This stuff is out there. So if you're sick and if you're struggling and if you're hurting, don't give up hope. Open your eyes to a different path. So some of the other components, I have to rest a lot. I have to be okay with that. I probably sleep 12 hours a day and take naps, when I need to, but it's okay. It's totally okay. I have, and this part wasn't fun, and it's still not fun. It's really hard. I have an extremely restrictive diet, and that may not always be that way, but until I get tested to see what's really going on in my gut, which is something I would probably recommend everybody does. There's all this new information out there about gut bacteria, and our original brain is in the gut. If you're not feeling well, if something mysterious is going on, collect all the data you can on yourself. And that means mind, body, and spirit. So now we're back to the body. Get all the information you can and then make choices. So I wanted to get to a platform because I didn't know what physically was triggering my seizures or my chronic fatigue or my myalgic encephalomyelitis or my horribly painful, body aches and pains. It's just been extremely rough. So with that, I forgot where I was going, and sometimes that happens. It's brain fog. And this is just, I get frustrated with myself, but this is the component where it's like, okay, be kind to yourself. It's okay. I'll always neurologically, in certain areas, be 2 steps behind, but that doesn't define me, as a person, because I've done the spiritual work and the mind work. I can, when I forget what I was talking about, which actually happens a lot, I could just be kind and say it's okay, just start over. That's not how I judge myself. So anyhow, that's a great example of how kind self-talk can help you through whatever it is you're going through. So when I am awake, my full-time job is to be calm and peaceful. And it's not just calm. It's calm and peaceful, because calm is sort of the mental and then peaceful sort of the spiritual. Okay, I remember what I was talking about, my restrictive diet. So I didn't know what was triggering these seizures, and they were hideous and painful and brought me to the edge of what life is as far as I know it. I mean, these were some extremely scary and painful times. So I wanted this thing to stop happening, whatever this thing was, that involved seizures, and it was very stroke-like and very traumatic. So I decided to do a total, what would you call it, an elimination diet. Because I knew I was going to see a nutritionist eventually, and that takes time, but what I can do to set the stage. So I went totally vegan. I was always vegetarian, but I gave up all dairy products. And once again, I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist, and what I did was a huge risk because I put myself at risk for malnutrition. But I really tried to just look inside and use common sense about how to best treat my body. So it's a lot easier when I'm here in Hawaii because I feel best when I'm eating a love diet. For me, love is local. I think if you eat food that comes within 15 miles of where you're living, or sort of the same ecoclimate or the same area, your health can only increase. Organic. I think organic matters. I don't want all of these chemicals. I'm trying to shed the chemicals. I'm trying to, walk away from that. So as much organic fruit, when I'm out here in Hawaii, I could just pick fruit from the trees or get coconuts, from guys at the beach. And it just really works for me. So local, organic, vegan, dairy's a trigger. Dairy's a trigger. It was hard. I love cheese. There's so many things about dairy that I love, but I love my health more. So it's extremely tough and extremely restrictive, and I'm having to learn a whole new pattern of how to eat and how to eat healthy and how to keep myself from not being malnourished. Because a lot of people can say, hey, I'm vegan, there's no dairy products. But if you don't give up the processed foods, none of it matters. And this is where I'm very serious, because those processed foods, if you are trying to do anything neurologically with your brain and you have those processed foods and all those chemicals going through your brain, good luck. Your challenge is going to be immense. So local, organic, vegan energy. I'm learning that food has a karmic value too. If you choose to get, some sort of burgers from McDonald's, the karmic value, everything from how the animals were raised to, how they were slaughtered, to how the people are treated that work there, to how the company spends their money. This is all the karmic value of food, the karmic cost of food. So I also believe my karmic cost is much lower. And this is, once again, just a personal belief that I have. So with this restrictive diet, it's not easy. And I'd say the last thing I did that, kind of is a complete shift is I gave up drinking. And since I gave up drinking, it's been about 3 or 4 months. It was just one day I just looked at it and it just didn't reflect who I was anymore. It was just processed and kind of syrupy, and I don't know what it was, but I just at that moment knew that drinking wasn't for me anymore. And since I stopped drinking, I still have moments where I see other people drink. It was such a habitual thing. I had a great love affair with alcohol, for like 30 years. So it was very habitual for me. When I gave it up, I felt like a flower was opening up. And it's tough to be without alcohol, but the gifts are just amazing, just amazing. So here I am in Hawaii on Thanksgiving, feeling pretty damn good. And I accredit it to, first of all, the biggest thing is I have a loving, supportive partner. And I am almost his full-time job. Getting me from where I was to here has taken such effort from Robert. Because when I was sick in bed, I couldn't advocate for myself. I couldn't even speak. When I was on prescription medication, I didn't have the ability. I was just drooling, looking out my window, wondering when it was going to be all over. So with the help of a strong, supportive partner and making incredibly, decisions that I never thought I'd be able to make, it's Thanksgiving 2017, and I feel really, really optimistic about the future. So it's a calm lifestyle, it's a meditative lifestyle, it's a mindful lifestyle, it's a raw organic lifestyle, a lot of cannabis, which will be another video, but no, I'm not stoned all the time. I microdose cannabis throughout my day, and I do equal doses of THC and CBDs. So there is a way to use cannabis as your major medicine if you choose to, and not to feel the psychoactive effects of THC. And if you're interested in that, just, please call me. I can help you. It's a path. I didn't have anybody holding my hand through this path, and it was tough. But now I have a hand that's ready and willing to hold anybody else's if they just don't like where they are with their health. Because there's a quote. If you don't change your path, you're going to end up where you're going. And that's kind of what I was doing. And I did. I changed my path. And now I know where I'm going. And my whole world has opened up for me. And I would just love to share this message if anybody needs any hope or inspiration. So, happy Thanksgiving 2017. I love you all.